Well, Bitcoin. What a day it has been. We're tuning in tonight, guys, for the Trump tariffs. I had to pause there for a minute because today my brain has been fried, but it's been really good. Anyone exploit that NASDAQ flavor today? Saw a nice little pump on NASDAQ, saw a nice little pump on Bitcoin. But is it going to be what we think it's going to be? The Eurozone's deciding to come out with a like-for-like tariff. Trump wants to do a tariff, $26 billion. They're going to do 24 billion euros. So this is it, ladies and gentlemen. Trade war. That's what's happening. We don't know what China's going to do. We don't know what Mexico's going to do. We don't know what Canada's going to do. Who else is on this list of tariffs? And in the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to hear from the Big D about what his plans are with the tariffs. But with that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to just break down price action. I'm going to tell you about my trading day, and then we're just going to crack on and listen to what this guy has to say. And then you guys can continue about your day. Here's a question. How many of you believe that this is the start of the bull run for Bitcoin? Type 1. How many of you believe that this is the sell the news event? You see, what I don't like is I don't like when prices go up before an event, which could effectively put investors in a bit of a pickle. I just hope Bitcoin continues, only for the favor of Bitcoin moving up so everybody's bags are doing well. But I don't know, man. It's going to be an interesting one. Let's get with the program, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. So, am I in this camera? Yeah, I'm in this camera. Sell the news, flash crash coming. Sell the news, buy the news event. We are going to give back all of the gains of the day. Not one more level down. Pump and dump. It's going to come down. Time for roller and Vaseline. What are you expecting these markets to do, man? Anyways, let's break it all down. What's going on? Look, do you hear about this? What on earth is going on there? 155,000 jobs added. Interesting. What does that tell you? Economy's great. Well, we talked about that earlier on. And the bets are still the same. Nothing's changed. Euro's getting a great 2.35%, ladies and gentlemen. That's why Euro is on the pump as well. But let's break it down with the BTC. So, Bitcoin, 86,355 going into the Solanage. Solana's done all right, but Solana's been really difficult lately with its just boring sideways price action, breaking away from the XRP formation. Not really gaining that much ground, leaving blue and green vector candles behind. Ethereum. Remember last night on the block trade principle that I gave you guys in that video? If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. Look at this block trade. When I said any time frame, look at that. Ethereum. Look at how they kiss. Look at the block. Kiss, kiss, kiss. What? Look, you couldn't even, like, what is that? What is that? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Ethereum looking like it really wants that 2K mark. Well, let's just anticipate that the news with regards to the tariffs is going to be a good event. Having a look at the options chain across the board, ladies and gentlemen, we're not really seeing too much flavor happening right now. So let me just, what's going on here? What have you done? There we go. Real-time feed of the markets. Here we are. So I'm not really seeing, look, it's very light. Look, it's very light. When it's light green, it's not that much liquidity coming into the options market. Okay. When it's dark green or dark red, then you've got a big sell order right there. Okay. But I'm not really, you've got sell puts right here on NVIDIA. And it's just been absolutely crazy. Today, we had a wonderful day in the Discord, just to put it out there. In the Discord today, I was sharing price points that I was expecting NASDAQ to make movements from. We absolutely ripped this move to the upside on NASDAQ. So we were looking for longs on NASDAQ by the principle of the options chain and the hybrid system, vector recoveries, V-shaped reversals, you name it, putting it all together. And we got this big, nice movement to the upside. People made money today in the Discord, man. I had this gentleman here. Sorry to call you out, bro, but he made $3,200 Thanks to the option strike strategy, got in at 19,525 and got out at 19,710. Mad love to you, bro. Well done for that. And a few more people. This is in the Platinum membership Discord anyway. But my day, I did really well on the options today, trading the NASDAQ. So I trade the options on IG. And let's have a look. So my day today played out really well with the options. So what I did initially was I was taking the longs with everyone. And we had a couple of positions, and we started off we finished the day on around 7,500, and then I opened some puts on, yeah, there you go. So yeah, about 7,500 ish. And then I opened some puts on the drop to the downside on the NASDAQ. So I started to see NASDAQ breaking down, which was this area right here. And I saw the violet vector candle go to the 5-minute time frame and literally just went short from, it was roughly around this point right here, where I opened the actual options, and I wanted to see them break down towards the VWAP, and they came really close towards the they took the VWAP, which was this red vector candle, and then we ended up finishing the day on 13,071 pounds. So we had a nice day just trading options, okay? It wasn't scalping. I'm trying to make life a little bit easier for myself. I'm finding a point in the chart, and I'm effectively just taking these trades. And this is a live account for the record, ladies and gentlemen, no demo account. Anyways, with that being said, going into it, NASDAQ is making a little bit of a move to the upside, okay? Bitcoin still holding out. Now, Trump's going to be talking. I'm going to plant his little face right here. And then 15 minutes time, we're going to have that conversation about Bitcoin. Do you remember Circle, what I said to you yesterday? It's getting very interesting. Said the second Trump gets into power, he's going to get that Circle stablecoin IPO issued. Now look what's going on. Stablecoin wars. Says here, Trump's accused of wanting to make his stablecoin legal tender as Circle and Ripple begin the stablecoin wars. Well, you've got to understand that the real war is with Coinbase. That's where the real war is. What's going on with my live stream? What is going on with my live stream? Are we good, ladies and gentlemen? Is my live stream not even on? Yeah, it is. There you go. Are we good with this live? I need to know. Very good, yeah? All right, it's just my computer being silly. Let me just, yeah, that's fine. All right, and never mind. Okay, yeah, so this story here, it's very, very important because it's going to start, it's a market cap battle. That's what this is, okay? So that's what we're going to be waiting for with this Circle IPO. And you know what? Quite frankly, whatever price the IPO is going to be for Circle, because if you remember Coinbase, when it was listed, it was around $334, $344. Took a nosedive, but now it's done very good to come back up, okay? So once this IPO does come into action, it'll be very interesting to see how it's going to be in terms of its actual price. I'd wait for the first week or so before you start getting involved in Circle in the IPO. Wait for the first 2 weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks, so the investors can really understand what it's about. And then happy days, get involved in it, okay? Now, Tina, you're not vectored yet. Tina, yep. Coinbase wants monopoly. Of course they do. They don't want anyone else touching that stablecoin market. They've got institutional endorsement there. In other words, where investors are going to be effectively buying from them the cryptocurrency. Now you've got Circle stepping into play. They're going to be sharing that market cap, guys. When I just bring you that market cap for a split second, just to put it into perspective, I'm going to be taking some questions very shortly, guys, so we can get this party started. Here we go. Coin. Look at this, right? In front of you, you've got, this is Coinbase's share price, and here are some statistics on Coinbase as a stock. So you've got 1,565 fund managers owning the stock. So they're playing the stock, okay? They're buying it and selling it. And you can see, look, at the start of their actual IPO, what was, oh, sorry, 429 was the high. Yeah, $342 was the IPO price in principle. Okay, it takes a nosedive and then, of course, starts to come back up again, which is why I say to you, just wait a few weeks or so when you do get into an IPO, just to give it a little bit of weight. Look what happened to Reddit. You know, when that came into an IPO, everyone was slating it, and then it just shot up straight after, or after a little while. Okay. Well, the quality of the stream is pretty fine. I don't understand what's going on with it. I don't know. Something's wrong with YouTube anyways, like doesn't load my comments, something funny with it, but it's probably me needing to restart my computer. Anyways, questions, because I'm going to do 10 minutes of questions, and then we're going to get into this Trump story and listen to what this guy has to say. So, bro, you don't buy a haircut, bro. You just get a haircut. Theo, okay, Tina, what's the best platform to day trade? I like to trade options. Why? Thanks you. Look, it all depends on where you are in the world. I use IG. Okay, I use these guys because it's convenient for me. I might be getting screwed on certain price points and spreads, but for me, it doesn't matter. I'll just use these guys. It makes life easier for me. I have used them for a while, but happy days. Okay. Do you think the tariff bad news is already priced in? The thing is, right, when it comes to this tariff story, all right, you've got this is where we are with the tariffs. According to sources, it says that 25% automobile tariffs due to take effect at 12 a.m. this evening, US time, Eastern Standard, okay, ET. And it says here that Trump administration considering revocation of tariff exemptions for cheap shipments from China. China has even turned around and said that it's restricting any companies in China from investing in the US. So it's already starting, okay? And on top of that, it says here that Trump is considering announcing an external revenue service on Wednesday. And then, of course, the US will establish a process for tariffs on parts within 90 days. So things are actually starting to unfold with this story with the tariffs, okay? And in a few moments, we're going to hear from Donald Trump on exactly where he thinks everything is going to end up, or what's everyone's reaction going to be. We know the euro is going to come straight up with their reactions. Looking at euro's price action right now, it's taking a little bit of a tumbler to the downside, but it's been pumping like it's been going crazy. But yeah, I mean, look, let me explain something to you about Forex. When you get a move like this, the idea of value is getting engaged massively. Perception is huge. That means now I can buy more dollars on the expectation of a strong euro. Because if the markets don't like what they're hearing, yippee-ki-yay to the upside for Mr. Dollar. Now, stick with me on this, right? Just to put it into perspective, okay? Let's assume that this is a sell the news event, okay? Is the contrarian approach to things, right? Dollar dominance has taken a nosedive to the downside. Still appreciated at 3.4%. So you got 3.4% purchasing power, right? It's made the move down. Euro, on the flip side of that, has made the move up. Now, in terms of Forex, right now, the big boys are saying, how many euros can we get with our dollars? How many dollars can we get with our euros? If they've marked dollar down to effectively bring it back up on the idea that this tariff story is going to be beneficial for the US in the later run, then investors are going to price that in now. We know that the interest rates are probably not going to get cut anytime soon because your jobs data is coming out showing that everything is fine. So that means longer yield, more yield in the dollar because it's got higher rates of interest. Problem is you can't really borrow too much money with the dollar, because it's expensive, but it's a place for investors to plant it. So that means that if euro is overly valued right now, then we know that they're going to be able to buy more dollars with the expectation that it's going to appreciate again in the future. But you're getting it at 3.4% of purchasing power. If this thing decides to shoot up at the news announcements, ladies and gentlemen, today has just been a setup. They usually do it. That's why I'm always saying to you, I wanted Bitcoin to drop. I would have preferred Bitcoin to drop first before this. Problem is, Bitcoin has pumped and hasn't followed through. Look what's going on. The bids and the offers. You've got a few offers up here that could see a nice little return for them. 13 million at 88,500. We zoom out. Bids are starting to collect up here. You got 70,000 at 20.85. But you zoom in, you can see here, getting interesting. We've got some bids. Liquidations, 10,115 traders have been liquidated in the last hour. Sad. There you go. Short sellers getting squeezed out. Got a little cluster right there, 242 million, 246 million. And Bybit CEO came out saying a little while ago that any liquidations that you see that are being reported, that's not the true figure. In other words, it's more, which is pretty sad. Anything else, ladies and gentlemen? Tino, institutional investors are strapping to unwind right into Japanese investors. No lube and getting pegged in return. What the hell was that? What on earth was that? Oh, my days. That was a little bit crazy. Hold on. So let's just see what's going on here. What? Is this where he's doing his... Where the hell is that? I'm not understanding this. Hold on a second. Why is that coming up like that? Why is that happening? Hold on. Here we go. In 4 minutes' time. Bloomberg. Here we go. Here we are. Let's take that. That's a little bit of a weird thing. Sorry about that, ladies and gents. But that was a little bit crazy, that was. Interesting. All right, then. We're getting into it. Here we go. So, Trump, he's going to be right here. Okay? And we're going to identify. What on earth is that? I don't understand why that has come into play. We've got loads of work. Like, that's weird. Very, very weird. Okay, then. Okay. Sorry about this, guys. That's just really thrown me off. Absolutely thrown me off. All right, then. Tino, favorite Greek dish? Oh, afkolemoni. Actually, drahana. No. I don't know. I'm starving. He's in the Rose Garden. Okay, yeah, it's probably, yeah, it is going to be there. Yeah, I think I was right with that. Never mind. It was all good. Tino, Bitcoin dominance reached 63. What's the reaction? Oh, yeah. Has it hit the projection? It has, hasn't it? Did it hit our point? Oh, so close to 63.3. We were looking for that. We were looking for that. Tina, do you like mushy peas? Oh, my days, bro. Why am I reading those questions? Here we go. We've got Bitcoin movement right now. Guys, this is good news. This is good news. Okay? If Bitcoin gets a sharp rejection and immediately a V-shaped return, would you consider it as the start of the next pump? That situation itself would be brilliant if we do see Bitcoin drop aggressively to only come straight back up. But it's all going to be about what this guy decides to say. Hey, Tino, what's your strategy when trading options? All I'm doing when I'm trading the options, ladies and gentlemen, is I'm looking for options positions in terms of gamma and all the deltas and what have you, and just correlating the hybrid system to it as well, taking the structure of the hybrid system. And if you don't know the hybrid system, get involved with it. This is a free course, okay? Take that. It gives you all the information about the hybrid system. And then if you want to join us in the actual Platinum membership where you get access to these PDFs and all that fun and games, all right, then you'll be able to join the Platinum membership and be part of the Discord when we're doing the trades, which is where we're sharing these entries and just trading, basically, guys. So people made money today, yesterday, and the day before. So we had some good fun. So if you want a piece of that, get involved with the Platinum membership and come and join us over there. All right? Cool. But do this course. Do the free course so you understand what we're talking about. It's only an hour long. All right, then. Cool. Bitcoin making a nice little pump to the upside. Honestly, I'd love a non-financial live stream. You're good company, team. Mad love to you, bro. You're a good kid. All right, then. So in 1 minute and 43 seconds, here we go. We're going to put on our headphones. Listen, the indicator is free of charge. This is just go to the Traders Reality website, okay? And on the website at the top where it says info, click that, and it's going to take you through some steps on how to download the indicator. All you got to do is just go like it on TradingView and then, or favorite it, and then you've got access to it. And these are the PDFs that you get with the hybrid system and in the Platinum membership, sorry. Okay, so that's all under the Platinum membership on the Traders Reality website. All right, cool. Here we go. 59 seconds, guys. 59 seconds. Here we go. This is going to be an interesting one. This is going to be an interesting one. We're going to get Trump, Bitcoin's price right there. And we're going to slap Donald Trump right here. And then we're going to turn up the volume and listen to what this guy has to say. Time to get wrecked, bro. What are you talking about? Tina, will the tariffs impact oil since the US import oil as well? Of course it's going to impact oil. He's already putting taxation on Putin with oil over there. Sanctions have been smacked. I mean, listen, Russia is getting it smacked left, right, and center. You know, sanctions from Biden, sanctions from Trump now. You know, he's being squeezed with this war in Ukraine. It's pretty unbelievable. Here we go.
Carnegie. We're not there anymore, and it is a lot of complicated trading patterns. Nobody really has market control, in which case we're doing this real-time, large-scale experiment with a working mechanism.
Hold that thought, Vincent. We're in conversation right now with Vince Reinhardt over at BNY. We are getting the closing bells here in New York. Green across the screen, Alex Steele, in a very volatile session. We were down by 1% on the S&P, higher by 1% on the S&P, ending the day on the S&P right now up by 0.7%. A big rally in small caps. The Russell 2000 up about 1.7% to end out the day.
Yeah, go figure. If you're going to see tariffs, you would think the Russell would get hit and be the most vulnerable, or those mid caps. Not the case in terms of the price action today. Yields, though, go pretty much nowhere. Not that safe haven buying. Gold, though, managing to close up around here by about $18, at one point hitting at another record high. So there still is that little bit of safe haven bid, and you have to wonder, is it going to be a buy the news, sell the rally kind of thing, or is it sell the rally, buy the news, or
sell the rally, buy the news?
We should point out that volume in both the equity and the bond market was a touch lighter than what it would normally be.
Going up,
a lot of traders we talked to say really keep an eye over the next.
Price is going up, you're selling the rally. You buy the news, well, the news is bad. You're buying it, yeah?
By about 2%, up around that 87,000 level. Vincent Reinhardt is still with us, the chief economist at BNY Investments, and former worked at the Federal Reserve. And Vince, on your last point, as you were talking about kind of us being a manufacturing economy back in the day.
Okay, that guy, I thought I spoke fast, but that guy speaks really, really fast. I'm struggling to listen to that dude. All right, we're going to keep an eye out on price action right now. Bitcoin is pulling back ever so slightly right now. Call me Mr. FOMO. Clears the throat. Trump versus Tina. Who's got a better trip? Oh, my days. Here comes the sweeps. Buy the rally. All right. How many of you have liked the stream? Come on, man. 2,919 of you. Mad love for you all passing through. If we can like the stream, that would be wonderful. It's just a 2-second thing. Till Trump arrives. Come on. Let's do it. What's your vector? On the way to the fridge. Happy days. No green vector, not buying until it's all retail. It's cool. Bitcoin will go up or down a lot. It probably will, man. You got to give us a course on Forex, value, economy, fundamentals, bro. Look, technically, I haven't got a course on that, all right? But I could do a video on that, but breaking down the macros is here. I've got a PDF here which breaks down all the macros on what you need to be mindful of. And, you know, I've got information here. Oh, have we got any activity? But yeah, that's in there about the macros. Okay. We're not hearing anything just yet. Nothing just yet, guys. Once Trump starts talking, is that Trump there? Alex Steele. What a name. Who is this guy? Oh, fair enough. Is that a big green vector in? Oh, my days, man. Stop it. Come on. I'm not buying until I see that stopping volume candle at the top. This is true. You want to see a stopping volume candle, but this is the 15-minute time frame, okay? And we're effectively wanting to see if Bitcoin can actually make the sweep above 88, because above 88,000, you got quite a few liquidations. So 1,500 people get liquidated again. You got liquidations at the 84,000. No. You've already taken that. All right, Trump's on his way. Everyone's rocking their heads right now. Yeah, look. So you got the 88,000 liquidations, all right? So they've cleaned out all these guys, come down to try and make a roll. But look at this. This is sad down here. Guys, you know, just for the nature of demonstration, just try and take some profits just in case. Just in case something stupid happens. Trump to the moon. Come on, 3,000 of you. Come on. You got 1,029 likes. Happy days. Mad love to you all. Well, Trump is going to talk when the brother turns up. I can't control that. Who misses Powell, man? I can't wait to hear from Powell on Friday. It's non-farm payrolls this week, guys. Non-farm payrolls. That's going to be an interesting one, given that the ADP has come out showing 155,000 jobs being created, but we're down on the JOLTS job openings report. They never get it right anyways. Bull runs. Here we go. Bull run starts now. By Sunday, Tino. This was the low. We're going to 500K. Altcoin season starts. Not Bitcoin moving to alts, but new money coming in alts. Institutions and governments buying. You see, the problem that we've got with that is, yes, the government is going to be buying, but as Larry Fink put it, if the US doesn't set the groundwork or the foundation to enable institutional access, because they can buy the ETF, all right, then the adoption of cryptocurrency is just going to be laggard. That's the thing. I mean, that is quite far-fetched about, you know, the altcoin season starts on Sunday. That's nice. Tilo, how long have you been using the hybrid system? Oh, days, how long have I been using the hybrid system? Bloody long time. I'm 40 years old soon. So we've been staring at these charts and making me sick, but here we go. Is he turning up? These guys are just talking anyways. Pending buy signal on the weekly. Buy signal since yesterday. I love these projections that come out. Is the stuff with Taiwan, Ukraine, Iran going to impact the markets? The one thing that you got to be paying attention to is the Taiwan Semiconductor Index. If that's contracting, which it is, then we've got ourselves a little bit of a problem about AI. Why? Because if Taiwan ain't pushing out those chips, here's the dude, then there ain't no business. Here we go.
Out into the Rose Garden. There he is now, shaking hands.
And of course, we are really awaiting to hear exactly what the details. We kind of know the countries that are in his crosshairs. We have a general sense of what the scale of these tariffs and these protectionist measures will look like. What we don't have are the actual individual details. And that's really going to drive not only the market response, but the economic response as well.
All right, sure.
Thank you.
Come on.
Nice crowd. What a good-looking group of people. Well, we have some very, very good news today, and a lot of good things are happening for our country. Please sit down.
Take a seat, ladies and gentlemen.
My
the
fellow
boy
Americans,
speaking.
this is Liberation Day, waiting for a long time. April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again. We're going to make it wealthy, good and wealthy.
Euro down.
For decades, our country has been looted, pillaged, raped, and plundered by nations near and far, both friend and foe alike. American steel workers, auto workers, farmers, and skilled craftsmen, we have a lot of them here with us today. They really suffered gravely. They watched in anguish as foreign leaders have stolen our jobs, foreign cheaters have ransacked our factories, and foreign scavengers have torn apart our once beautiful American dream. We had an American dream that you don't hear so much about. You did 4 years ago, and you are now, but you don't too often, and for many years and decades even, you didn't hear too much about. Our country and its taxpayers have been ripped off for more than 50 years, but it is not going to happen anymore. It's not going to happen. In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world. Reciprocal, that means they do it to us and we do it to them. Very simple, can't get any simpler than that. They do it to us and we do it to them. Very simple. This is one of the most important days, in my opinion, in American history. It's our declaration of economic independence. For years, hardworking American citizens were forced to sit on the sidelines as other nations got rich and powerful, much of it at our expense. But now it's our turn to prosper, and in so doing, use trillions and trillions of dollars to reduce our taxes and pay down our national debt, and it'll all happen very quickly. With today's action, we are finally going to be able to make America great again, greater than ever before.
He's getting to it. He's getting to it. Come on, give us the juice.
Jobs and factories will come roaring back into our country, and you see it happening already. We will supercharge our domestic industrial base. We will pry open foreign markets and break down foreign trade barriers. And ultimately, more production at home will mean stronger competition and lower prices for consumers. This will be indeed the golden age of America. It's coming back. We're going to come back very strongly. We're pleased to be joined on this momentous occasion by Vice President J.D. Vance. J.D., thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Where are you, J.D.? No, that wasn't too hard to find. I was looking, you know, he likes to take a low-key attitude, so usually we sit right in front. He's gaining a lot of confidence, Mike, isn't it?
Tariffs, Trump, come on.
And nearly my entire cabinet is here, as well as Speaker Mike Johnson, who's done an amazing job. And with the great success we had last night in Florida, we have a majority of 7. And 7's like a lot when we had it at 1, right? You've done a fantastic job, and many of the members of the House and Senate are with us. Senators, Congressmen, thank you all for being with us. We appreciate it. For decades, the United States slashed our trade barriers on other countries, while those nations placed massive tariffs on our products and created outrageous non-monetary barriers to decimate our industries. And in many cases, the non-monetary barriers were worse than the monetary ones. They manipulated their currencies, subsidized their exports, stole our intellectual property, imposed exorbitant VAT taxes to disadvantage our products, adopted unfair rules and technical standards, and created filthy pollution havens. They were absolutely filthy, but they always came to us and they said, we're violating, we should pay for it. It's all detailed in a very big report by the U.S. Trade Representative on foreign trade barriers, and I'll just hold it up for you. It's available, and you don't have to pay too much. As I understand it, you'll pay nothing. It's a lot of work for something, actually, because it's a special book. It's frankly, it's very upsetting when you read it, when you see what people have been doing to us for 30 years. This all happened with no response from the United States of America, none whatsoever. But those days are over. Let me offer just a few examples of the vicious attacks our workers have faced for so many years. The United States charges other countries only a 2.4 tariff on motorcycles. Meanwhile, Thailand and others are charging much higher prices, like 60%. India charges 70%. Vietnam charges 75%, and others are even higher than that.
Here we go.
Likewise, until today, the United States has for decades charged a 2.5 tariff. Think of that, 2.5%. on foreign-made automobiles. The European Union charges us more than 10% tariffs, and they have 20% VATs, much, much higher. India charges 70%, and perhaps worst of all are the non-monetary restrictions imposed by South Korea, Japan, and very many other nations. As a result of these colossal trade barriers, 81% of the cars in South Korea are made in South Korea. 94% of the cars in Japan are made in Japan. Toyota sells 1 million foreign-made automobiles into the United States, and General Motors sells almost none. Ford sells very little. None of our companies are allowed to go into other countries. And I say that, friend and foe. And in many cases, the friend is worse than the foe in terms of trade. But such horrendous imbalances have devastated our industrial base and put our national security at risk. I don't blame these other countries at all for this calamity. I blame former presidents and past leaders who weren't doing their job. They let it happen, and they let it happen to an extent that nobody can even believe. That's why, effective at midnight, we will impose a 25% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles.
We know that. We know that. We know the 25%.
Thank you.
What else is going to say?
Brian, I'd like to have you come up here for a second, okay? I just see him sitting. He's been a fan of ours.
This guy.
And he understands this business a lot better than the economists, a lot better than anybody. Brian, say a few words, please, would you?
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
President.
It's a great honor to have you. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. President. I grew up just north of Detroit, Michigan, in Macomb County, known as the home of the Reagan Democrats. My first vote for president was for Ronald Reagan. I thought that was going to be...
All right, so listen, whilst we just let this guy just talk about Trump for a minute, we just quickly have a look at what's going on. I mean, Bitcoin has made a significant move to the upside. Euro has made a nice sweep to the upside too. Okay, and I'm just looking at other assets across the board right now. Just quickly flip over and have a look at NASDAQ. Just have a look there, up 175. Mad days, man. Yeah, she's done a nice little reversal to the upside. So we know that it's 25% on car automobiles. That's cool. Euro up 1% nearly. That is awesome. XRP breaking out of the XRP boring formation. Ethereum is doing really well. It's coming up, but it's starting to pull back right now. So we're going to wait and see if this is going to be a sustained move at all. So we'll keep an eye out on that, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get that up. Here we go.
President.
Thank you so much.
Timed that one well.
What a great guy. He got it right from the beginning. He got it before almost anybody else. This group over there, they got it too. And, you know, we won the state of Michigan. We won almost all of them. But we won Michigan by a lot, and I want to just thank you all. The auto workers were fantastic. The Teamsters were fantastic. Everyone was pretty good, I will tell you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You're going to be very happy very soon, and you probably see what's happening with all of the, not only car companies, but car companies in particular. You see it with all of the ones they're moving, they're announcing day in, day out. You're seeing it. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. With today's actions, we're also standing up for our great farmers and ranchers who are brutalized by nations all over the world. Brutalized. Canada, by the way, imposes a 250 to 300% tariff on many of our dairy products. They do the first can of milk. They do the first little carton of milk at a very low price, but after that it gets bad, and then it gets up to 275, 300%. So when they're figuring what's Canada charging, they say, oh, about 2%, 3%. But take a look at what happens down the road. When you look a little bit, it's not a pretty picture, and we don't like it, and it's not fair. It's not fair to our farmers. It's not fair to our country. And with countries like Canada, you know, we subsidize a lot of countries and keep them going and keep them in business. In the case of Mexico, it's $300 billion a year. In the case of Canada, it's close to $200 billion a year. And I say, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? I mean, at what point do we say you got to work for yourselves, and you got to? This is why we have the big deficits. This is why we have that amount of debt that's been placed on our heads over the last number of years, and we're really not taking it anymore. Through non-tariff barriers, the European Union bans imports of most American poultry. You understand? They say, we want to send you our cars, we want to send you everything, but we're not going to take anything that you have. Australia bans, and they're wonderful people and wonderful everything, but they ban American beef, yet we imported $3 billion of Australian beef from them just last year alone. They won't take any of our beef. They don't want it because they don't want it to affect their farmers. And you know what? I don't blame them, but we're doing the same thing right now, starting about midnight tonight, I would say.
Okay, 25% tariffs. Like the stream, ladies and
China
gentlemen, it's
charges
free.
American rice
No tariffs
farmers
on
an
likes.
overquota, it's called, a tariff rate of 65%. South Korea charges 50. Actually, they charge different, from 50% to 513%. And Japan, our friend, charges us 700%. But that's because they don't want us selling rice and other things. Who can blame them, Madam Secretary? Agriculture, great job you did on eggs, by the way. The egg prices came down 50%. You got them down 50%. Once we got involved, they were going through the sky. The egg prices, they were going through the sky, and you did a fantastic job. Now we have lots of eggs, and they're much cheaper, down about 59% now.
Yield shooting up.
And they're going down further. We charge 2.8% for so many things that other countries are charging 200%, 300%, and 400% for. If imposing tariffs and protective barriers made nations poor, then every country on earth would be racing to eliminate these policies, and China would be the first on line. They run a very strong country, but they're not first in line, and the American people are paying a very big price. From 1789 to 1913, we were a tariff-backed nation, and the United States was proportionately the wealthiest it has ever been. So wealthy, in fact, that in the 1880s, they established a commission to decide what they were going to do with the vast sums of money they were collecting. We were collecting so much money so fast, we didn't know what to do with it. Isn't that a nice problem to have? What do you think, Marco? Good problem? Marco would love that problem. But we don't have that problem anymore, but we're not going to have it very much longer, I will tell you. But they collected so much money, they actually formed a commission to determine what they were going to do with the money, who they were going to give it to, and how much. Then in 1913, for reasons unknown to mankind, they established the income tax so that citizens, rather than foreign countries, would start paying the money necessary to run our government. Then in 1929, it all came to a very abrupt end with the Great Depression, and it would have never happened if they had stayed with the tariff policy. It would have been a much different story. They tried to bring back tariffs to save our country, but it was gone. It was gone. It was too late. Nothing could have been done. It took years and years to get out of that depression, far longer than even FDR had that office right over there for a long period of time. The ramp system, that's rather intricate, was built because of him, and every time you walk up, you think of him, and he did a great job in many ways, but it lasted long beyond his terms, as you know. But it's not too late any longer, and we're going to start being smart, and we're going to start being very wealthy again. We're going to be wealthy as a country because they've taken so much of our wealth away from us. We're not going to let that happen. We truly can be very wealthy. We can be so much wealthier than any country. It's not even believable, but we're getting smart. Nearly a century later, in the face of unrelenting economic warfare, the United States can no longer continue with a policy of unilateral economic surrender. We cannot pay the deficits of Canada, Mexico, and so many other countries. We used to do it. We can't do it anymore. We take care of countries all over the world. We pay for their military. We pay for everything they have to pay. And then when you want to cut back a little bit, they get upset that you're not taking care of them any longer. But we have to take care of our people, and we're going to take care of our people first. And I'm sorry to say that.
Come on, give us some more.
And today we're standing up for the American worker, and we are finally putting America first. In Sleepy Joe Biden's last year in office, the United States hemorrhaged 100,000 manufacturing jobs, and the number was going through the roof at levels never seen before. And our trade deficit reached a record $1.2 trillion, which is unheard of. Since the beginning of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made. It was a horror show. I was able to terminate it. They all said you'd never be able to get it out. We had to get approval from Congress to get it terminated. We had to live with that deal. It was the worst deal, worst trade deal ever made by far. But since the very beginning of NAFTA, our country lost 90,000 factories. Think of what that is, 90,000. Think about putting a map up and putting tax on it. You wouldn't have enough room. 90,000. I said, is that possible? We had it checked 4 different times, and it was actually somewhat higher than that. And 5 million manufacturing jobs were lost while racking up trade deficits of 19 trillion.
Dollar yen is up. Okay, that's a problem.
Losses. Foreign nations now own $26 trillion more of American assets than think of this, than the Americans own of their own foreign assets or other foreign assets. The United States can no longer produce enough antibiotics to treat our sick. We have a tremendous problem. We have to go to foreign countries to treat our sick. If anything ever happened from a war standpoint, we wouldn't be able to do it. We import virtually all of our computers, phones, televisions, and electronics. We used to dominate the field, and now we import it all from different countries.
Yeah, be careful with
lungs, guys. A single shipyard in China now produces more ships every year than all of the American shipyards combined. Think of that. And it was a business that we used to dominate. We used to dominate it totally. In short, chronic trade deficits are no longer merely an economic problem. They're a national emergency that threatens our security and our very way of life. It's a very great threat to our country. And for these reasons, starting tomorrow, the United States will implement reciprocal tariffs on other nations. It's been a long time since we even thought of that. We used to think about it a lot. We didn't think about it for
was the last
many
time.
decades, and you see what's happened. For nations that treat us badly, we will calculate the combined rate of all their tariffs, non-monetary barriers, and other forms of cheating. And because we are being very kind, we're kind people, very kind. You're not so kind when you got ripped off with your salaries. My auto worker friends and my Teamster friends and all of the unions that typically voted Democrat, they're not voting Democrat anymore because worker, whether union or non-worker, they're for the Republicans now. That's what happened. But we will charge them approximately half of what they are and have been charging us. So the tariffs will be not a full reciprocal. I could have done that, yes, but it would have been tough for a lot of countries. We didn't want to do that. I'd like to see the chart if you have it. Could you bring it up, Howard? This is our great Secretary of Commerce,
Giving
Howard
bits,
Lutnick.
little bits.
Thanks, Howard.
Little bits of information.
So,
here we go.
If you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So 67%, I think you can, for the most part, see it. Those with good eyes, with bad eyes. We didn't want to bring, it's very windy out here. We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing.
The US is charging 34%.
Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart.
Come on, bro.
So 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset?
Charging less, man, and look at the market.
They will be because we never charge anybody anything. But now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. You know, you think of European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%, we're going to charge them 20%. So we're charging them essentially half. Vietnam, great negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them. The problem is they charge us 90%. We're going to charge them 46% tariff. Taiwan,
all this money coming in.
They took all of our computer chips and semiconductors. We used to be the king, right? We were everything. We had all of it. Now we have almost none of it, except the biggest company is coming in. We're going to end up with almost 40%. Lee Zeldin's working to get their approvals. And it's an amazing company. Mr. Wei, of one of the great companies of the world, actually. They're coming in from Taiwan, and they're going to build one of the biggest plants in the world, maybe the biggest for that.
Come on, guys, 4,000 of you, mad love and respect, man.
We're going to charge them 32%.
It's like the
Japan.
Can we hit 4,000?
Very, very
That'll
tough.
Be nice. That's your tariff.
People. And again, I don't blame the people for doing it. I think they're very smart in doing it. I blame the people that sat right in that Oval Office, right over there, right behind the Resolute desk or whichever desk they chose. Japan, 46%. They would charge us 46% and much higher for certain items like cars, you know, little items like cars. 46%, we're charging them 24%. India, very, very tough, very, very tough. The Prime Minister just left.
He's going to give a story on every single country, man.
Oh,
my God.
You're not treating us right. They charge us 52%. You have to understand, we charge them almost nothing for years and years and decades. And it was only 7 years ago when I came in, we started with China and charged them. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China in tariffs. And they understood, honestly. President Xi understood. He said, look, I understand. And the other countries, and they all understand. We're going to have to go through a little tough love, maybe. But they all understand. They're ripping us off, and they understood it. Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe. He was a fantastic man. He was unfortunately taken from us, assassination. But I went to him and I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. A trade is not fair. And he said, I know that. I know that. And he was a great gentleman. He was a fantastic man. But he understood immediately what I was talking about. I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. He said, I know that. And we worked out a deal, and it would have been a much better deal. But frankly, there were many years left on the deal that was made previous to my getting there. But it was.
Investors are going to safe haven. Look at gold.
Look at Switzerland, 61% to 31%. Indonesia, Malaysia, Cambodia. Oh, look at Cambodia, 97%. We're going to bring it down to 49. They made a fortune with the United States of America. United Kingdom, 10%, and we'll go 10%. So we'll do the same thing.
How does that help
South
us?
Africa, 60%, 30%, and they've got
the
some
highest rate there.
Bad things going on in South Africa. You know, we're paying them billions of dollars, and we cut the funding because a lot of bad things are happening in South Africa. The fake news ought to be looking at it. They don't want to report it. Brazil, 10%, 10%. Bangladesh is 74%. So you see what's going on. Pakistan, 58%. Sri Lanka, 88%. So what we're doing is we're taking not the full, we could take the full 88%. Thanks a lot, Howard. He's doing a very good job. How's he doing, all right?
He's doing great, man. Awesome.
I think you better take it with you. It's not going to last very long. He's going to put it, it's going to follow you down with the wind. I brought a hat just in case it got too windy, but here, would anybody like a hat? I'm not giving it to a cabinet. I'm giving it to the auto workers. Come here. Thank you, fellas. Get it. That's it. That's it.
This guy has single-handedly created billions and billions of dollars to go into the US, and it's like it's a joke.
Of hats. But you see the numbers. The numbers are so disproportionate. They're so unfair. At the same time, we will establish a minimum baseline tariff of 10%. You notice that on the chart? And that'll be on other countries to help rebuild our economy and to prevent cheating. So we're going to have a minimum of cheating, and we're going to be very severe on the people that at the gate that watch the tariffs and watch the product coming in, because there's been a lot of bad things happening at the gate because the money is so enormous that you're talking about. There's never been probably anything like it in terms of the enormity, and there are a lot of bad things happen at the people that do the check-in, and they're looking at 10-year jail sentences.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
If they do play, we're going to treat them so good, but if they cheat,
taking a stab to the downside.
Repercussions are going to be extremely strong. Foreign nations will finally be asked to pay for the privilege of access to our market, the biggest market in the world. We're right now the biggest market in the world. We had a great country 4 years ago in terms of this policy throughout last year, and today that promise was made, and it was also a promise, as you know, that was kept. Promises made, promises kept.
It's true, no one cares about that.
To any company that objects to our common sense reciprocal tariffs, again, reciprocal, back and forth, and I call this kind reciprocal. This is not full reciprocal. This is kind reciprocal. But what we do is we cut it in half. We charge them. My answer is very simple. If they complain, if you want your tariff rate to be zero, then you build your product right here in America, because there is no tariff if you build your plant, your product in America. And we've seen companies coming in like we've never seen before. Likewise to all of the foreign presidents, prime ministers, kings, queens, ambassadors, and everyone else who will soon be calling to ask for exemptions from these tariffs. I say, terminate your own tariffs, drop your barriers, don't manipulate your currencies. They manipulate their currencies like nobody can even believe, which is a bad, bad thing and very devastating to us. And start buying tens of billions of dollars of American goods. Tariffs give our country protection against those that would do us economic harm. And many people were looking to do us economic harm. Maybe not so obviously, but they were doing tremendous economic harm. But even more importantly, they will give us growth. These tariffs are going to give us growth like you haven't seen before. And it'll be something very special to watch. I am so looking forward. And Brian, it's going to happen even faster than you said. You know, you might say, but it's already started. It's already started. Work's already begun on plants all around the country. And you see that it's before. These are big, rich companies. We have $61 billion started on a big plant going up. It's going to be announced over the next 2 days, and they already started work. Many of these the biggest companies in the world, they've committed to build, build, build. We're going to build, 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 sir. And they came here to see me, and they wanted to know if they could have a press conference. I do as many as I can. I'm pretty busy trying to stop Russia and Ukraine and the Middle East. We got to stop that. We got to stop the Houthis, which we're making tremendous. They like shooting ships down and out of the water, sinking ships. They get a kick out of it, but they're not getting such a kick out of it now, are they, Mr. Secretary? They're not getting such a kick out of that now. But here are just a short list of some of the companies that have already announced and committed to investment. This is a company that built its factories and its plants in China. Apple is going to spend $500 billion. They never spent money like that here. They're going to build their plants here. SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle, great companies, are investing $500 billion almost immediately. NVIDIA, a hot company, is investing hundreds of billions of dollars. They just announced. TSMC, the biggest, most important company in the world of chips from Taiwan, with no investment from us, is investing $200 billion. And they said the reason was, number one, the election of November 5th, and number two, the tariffs. They don't want to pay the tariffs, and the way they're not paying it is to build their plant here. So we're going to go from almost no percentage. We used to have 100% of the chip market. Now it's all in Taiwan. Almost all of it's in Taiwan, a couple of other countries, but mostly in Taiwan. And think of it, we had 100%. We lost it because of people in that office that didn't do their job. They allowed it to be stolen from us. Johnson & Johnson, great company, $55 billion. Eli Lilly, $27 billion. Meta is investing $500 billion. Wow.
Can't deny that he's getting money in the
$20
US.
billion. CMA, CGM, $20 billion. And then you have Merck and Clarios, Stellantis, General Motors, GE Aerospace, Honda, Nissan, Hyundai are all putting in billions and billions of dollars, and they're committed 100%. So. And we've never had, and this is after 2.5 months. This is after just a short, this all took place as soon as we came out with what everybody wanted to do. You know, I watched a gentleman today on television, used to work with Lee Iacocca, a very respected automobile person, and he said, you know, because they're asking people, and they try and get as many negative people as they can, but they can't find them too much. It's pretty hard to find in terms of what we're doing, especially when they see all this investment. They said, so tell me, what do you think of what Trump is doing from the automobile standpoint? He said, I can't believe it. Somebody is finally, he's an older guy, real pro, really top guy, with Lee Iacocca. He said, I never thought I'd see the day when this would happen. where somebody had the courage to go and do what has to be done. This is transforming our nation. Our entire nation is going to be transformed, not only with the cars, but on every single other item that's built. We're going to become an industrial powerhouse. And he said that so beautifully today. In fact, I'm going to find out, I'm going to get a tape. And Bruce, I'm going to get that tape and I'm going to send it to you out in Long Island, and you're going to play it for the people and all your union workers and your non-union workers out there. You got a pretty even split.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what is
but we
saying?
have, so far, it looks like we're going to have
else?
about $6 trillion of investments, and you wouldn't do that in years in this country over the last number of years. $6 trillion, and that's going to be much higher by the end of the year. And think of what $6 trillion is. You wouldn't have even a small percentage of that under this other system. We're going to be an entirely different country, and it's going to be fantastic for the workers. It's going to be fantastic for everyone. There will never have been a transformation of a country like the transformation that's already happening in the United States of America. It's an incredible thing to watch, and it's incredible to meet with the top people, people that you read about, very wealthy people, or people that are great managers and executives and presidents of big public companies, and to watch the enthusiasm they have now that they didn't have. They gave up on our country. They went to foreign countries and they built. Companies are pouring into our country at levels never seen before, with jobs and money to follow, and it's really beautiful. In the coming days, there will be complaints from the globalists and the outsourcers and special interests and the fake news. Always, the fake news will always complain. But never forget, every prediction our opponents made about trade for the last 30 years has been proven totally wrong. They were wrong about NAFTA. They were wrong about China. They were wrong about the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which would have been a disaster if I didn't terminate it. If I didn't terminate that, United Auto Workers, you would have had no jobs in this country. You would have had no jobs. It was all going to other countries. In my first term, they said tariffs would crash the economy. Instead, we built the greatest economy in the history of the world. And again, I have great respect for President Xi of China, great respect for China, but they were taking tremendous advantage of us, and I commend them for that. I say, hey, if you can get away with it, that's okay. But, you know, they understand exactly what's happening, and they probably, most of them are saying it's about time they did something, but, and they're going to fight, and they're going to fight fair. Everyone's going to fight. You know, it's like, I say to the leaders, look, you got to take care of your country, but we have to start taking care of our country now. We can't do what we've been doing for the last 50 years. From the day of my election, the stock market went up in my first term 88%. With NASDAQ going up 155%, more than any president has ever had in any term in office, by far. And I think we're going to blow that away. And maybe the numbers won't show, but I think they're going to show much better than even those numbers. But what you're going to see is you're going to see activity, that empty, dead sites, factories that are falling down. Those factories will be knocked down, and they're going to have brand new factories built in their place. They're not only talking about renovating, they're talking about brand new, the best anywhere in the world, the biggest anywhere in the world. I have a friend who builds car plants, and I said, I want to see the biggest and the best. He said, well, we have to go to Mexico.
That's hard.
I said, no, I want to see it in the United States. He said, we're not building them in there. This is a year and a half ago during the campaign. He said, we're not building it. You'd have to go to Mexico. When I was starting to decide to run, and I went to number one in the polls very rapidly, I want to say, like let's say in the first hour, and then shortly thereafter, it looked like I was going to win, and the fake news was saying, "Oh no, don't do this." What they don't know is if I didn't win, they would have really been in trouble, because nobody wants to read them anyway. But I tell you what, when it looked like I was going to win, I announced that I was going to be doing exactly what we're talking about today. Great consistency, actually, because I've been talking about it for 40 years. But because I saw what was happening 40 years ago. If you look at my old speeches when I was young, very handsome, my old speeches, and people would say, I'd be on a television show, I'd be talking about how we were being ripped off by these countries. I mean, nothing changes very much. The only thing that changed were the countries, but nothing really changes. But it's why it's such an honor. It's such an honor to be finally able to do this. if you look at China, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in my term, hundreds of billions. They never paid 10 cents to any other president, and yet they paid hundreds of billions, so much so that Biden couldn't do anything. They wanted to try and terminate it because he had a very special relationship with China. You know what the relationship was? He had a special relationship. But the numbers were so big, that they couldn't do it. So they did ease it up. They did things that they shouldn't have done. They made it a lot more comfortable for them, but they couldn't do it because the numbers were hundreds of billions of dollars, and I did that. And we were on our way to doing something like incredible. And then we had a very bad election happen, a very bad election. A lot of bad things happened. So when I said we got to do it again, I said we have to make it too big to rig, and we made it too big to rig, and we won in records, and it was a
This guy
monumental
doesn't stop.
win.
Break the sentence up, please,
And it was
Trump.
such an honor to see so many of you, like Brian and your friends, here with us to celebrate, and to more importantly celebrate what we're doing, because that wouldn't be a full celebration if we didn't do this, because this will be an entirely different country in a short period of time. It'll be something the whole world will be talking about it. The critics made the very tired predictions earlier this year, but in February, core inflation dropped to the lowest rate in 4 years. And the price of eggs, as you know, just in a month and a half, we were there for 4 weeks. And the first week, I got blamed for eggs. I said, I just got here. They said eggs have gone up at like 250%, and you can't get eggs. And they were going crazy. And I said, I just got here. And then we got to work on eggs, and we got to work on everything. And our great Secretary of Agriculture, you did a fantastic job, Brooke Rollins. She did a fantastic job. And as I said before, the price of eggs dropped now 59%, and they're going down more, and the availability is fantastic. They were saying that for Easter, please don't use eggs. Could you use plastic eggs? I said, we don't want to do that. We want to, and you really came through. It's an amazing job. Thank you very much, Brooke. You did great. But likewise, an old-fashioned term that we use, groceries. I used it in the campaign. It's such an old-fashioned term.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this guy is just not stopping, man. What is he saying? It's like, but that's how Trump appeals to people. Makes you feel like you're sat there with him in the living room, having a conversation. That is the crazy thing about it, guys. Right, I want to know who has been trading this madness. I want to know if you've been trading this madness or not, okay? Because I'm going to do a quick breakdown of price action across the board. So, Bitcoin, make nice stop run to the upside, takes a shoe back to the downside. It looks like it's sell the news event, ladies and gentlemen, quickly rolling over into the euro. Gave it all back, guys. Gave it all back. The dollar dominance has just now decided to come straight back up again. Quickly going into the volatility index. Well. That bad boy. There you go. Look at you going all crazy for it. Okay, so please take some profits off the table, ladies and gentlemen. Quickly going into Solana. Okay, we've got shorts. How many are you shorting right now? How many of you are in shorts, and what are your price points? Give me your price points as well so I can have a quick look at where you guys are at right now. We've got Ethereum coming back down again as well. Quickly going into the Japanese yen. Over there, you can see the yen's going up. Gold is going up as well. Safe havens being triggered right there. So close to the all-time high. Where are you all trading all of this, by the way, ladies and gentlemen? Because you guys need to get involved in BTCC. That's where you can trade the NASDAQ and the S&P. Quickly just show you this, guys. So you can trade NASDAQ and S&P on BTCC, and you can trade gold, Bitcoin, and the same stocks that this guy's talking about, you can actually trade on this platform. So get involved and check out BTCC. The description has the linkage for you. Back into it, guys. So quickly going over into the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is toying with a break of the 15% correction. What the hell? Don't want that. I want that. Okay, yeah. NASDAQ is so close to toying with this 15% correction mode. If this breaks down on NASDAQ, you're done. It's bear market, because it can easily clear a 5% move to the downside. Now, a lot of people are banging on the idea that this is it now. It's time to buy. It's time to buy. These guys are buying, okay? This is what you want to see. This is where they're buying. Okay? We need to wait and see where it can hold. Bitcoin in principle can go all the way, and hear me out. Bitcoin in principle is not even saying anything. US to impose tariff on Ukraine, chart shows. Yeah, we know that. All right. Remember what we said about the 50 EMA? Bitcoin can get above this point, then it's happy days. Well, this candle has wicked it. Okay? Remember what I said about this blue vector candle to break above that point? It's not appeared yet. They have not closed above that point. You need a green vector to close above that point to suggest the idea that things are going to look good and everything goes to the upside. Okay? So please take that into consideration when you're looking to buy Bitcoin. There's a lot of hype right now, but the stock market is not making sense about it. If NASDAQ's going down, Bitcoin is more than likely going to roll over too. Remember, it's a smaller asset class, so it does require less liquidity to move, but it does move very, very slow, okay? Quickly going into the ETF itself, seeing any activity on the ETF. Nothing's happening right now. What's Trump saying?
In the history of our country, so I appreciate that at least. But
he's still talking about biscuits and eggs, right? So 5 hours ago, Coinbase Prime's gone to nothing interesting over there. Other than that, here we go. So a lot of people are expecting that this is the point where Bitcoin is going to shoot up from. Wait until Asia tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Wait till Asia. Asia is going to react. Just remember, look, gold coming up to the all-time highs. Safe haven being engaged, okay? Dixie trying to base out in this range, taps the 800, could potentially start working its way back up. Oil, slowly, okay? NASDAQ, down, okay? And then you've got the S&P doing the same thing. Finally, 2-year yields spike up to come back down. 10-year bond market going up. Investors are seeking safety. They want safety. Volatility index going up, okay? So unless we get the VIX going up to 30, that, in my opinion, is the time to buy Bitcoin. That, in my opinion, is the time because you're buying it with confidence that the market is so scared, okay? We get that spike to 30, ladies and gentlemen. Sell your nan, do whatever you want so you can get hold of some Bitcoin, okay? With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, man, what a night that has been. If you are new to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe, guys. And all the fun and games about the hybrid system are available for you in this description of this live stream. Get yourself over to tradersreality.com and check it out. And I'll be tuning in to you all tomorrow. Mad love and respect, guys. Thank you for your time. Hit the like on the way out, man. It costs you nothing. All right. Take care of yourselves, guys.